I know, yeah, we have room now. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, I walked over. You walk. Wow. Yeah, right. I can do that.
Okay, thank you everyone for coming today. So it's 7 o'clock, so I'm gonna call this meeting to order. So in person, we have Vice Chair Mao, Board Member Shiraki, and Board Member Ige. Online, I see Member McColgan, Member Hack, and Member Nakayama. Okay, thank you everyone for being here. So happy to see people in person. So we'll start with the monthly reports. Is there someone from the fire department?
Hi, good evening. Captain Miller from Palolo Fire Station, Third Watch. You guys can hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll start with our monthly statistics. We had one nuisance fire, which I believe was a trash rubbish fire, 4 activated alarms, 26 medicals, 1 motor vehicle collision. And I'll go over the fire safety tip is evacuation planning. We suggest having an emergency preparedness plan ready in case of an environmental emergency, fire, or natural disaster. Know 2 ways out of your home and consider the route you will take if you need to evacuate from your neighborhood due to any emergency. You can also visit fire.honolulu.gov to learn more information on that. They also suggest leaving early enough to avoid being caught in the fire, smoke, or road congestion. Establish a predetermined location, such as well-prepared neighbor or relative's house, or a low risk area or shelter or evacuation center. Take your emergency supply kit containing your family and pets necessary items with you as well. That's all I had for that.
Okay, thank you, Captain, for the report. Any questions from board members?
We want to get a moment of silence for Richie Sue. Richie Sue was a board member in Palolo Neighborhood Board. Okay. He just passed away, so can we ask you to tell you exactly what was his duty as the fire in the fire department? Richie Sue.
You're asking me what his duty was? Yeah, he's a retired captain. He wasn't here when I was here, so I don't know a lot about him personally.
Because probably about a week ago or so, they had a big celebration for him, fire department.
Right.
So he was some kind of, he must have been some kind of icon, for the fire department. And I want to make a moment of silence because he was a former neighborhood board in Palolo. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
Okay, thank you, Board Member Shiraki. So in celebration of the life of former captain and former board member and former resident, we will just take a moment of silence. Okay, thank you. And I see Council Member Say would like to speak on this.
Testing, yeah, okay, I'll follow up with Earl at this point in time. The Sioux family lived on 9th Avenue. Richard was the oldest son of 6 or 7. And Richard was the first chief information officer for the Honolulu Fire Department. From Palolo Valley, he moved to Kalawahini. I think for all of you may know the area of Papakolea, where he's going home. So his service was last week, Monday. at Mililani in honoring a person that gave so much of his time and effort for the overall community. But Earl is correct. He was a board member of Palolo. Great loss for the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. for
Thank
that
you.
reminder.
Councilman Tse. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Captain Miller. And I know in our last meeting, board member Kawamoto brought up, the report that was for the fire that was on February 10th. And I'm happy to say that we did receive the official report. So for the rest of the members and the community, I'll drop that into our share drive. But any other questions from board members or community for the fire department? Okay. Oh.
Madam Chair.
Okay.
I've been seeing for the past week, I've seen the helicopter coming down. A lot, there's so many
Mhm.
people that is gotta keep rescue from the fire department going down into the park over here. How come they're getting lost? What I mean, what there's always sign because it's kind of hard for the fire department. I probably had about 6, I think, down that day. Helicopter going back and forth, right? And Dallas, you can hear, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it'll make several passes if we're going up for a search, we're going back and forth sometimes more than 6 times for one person usually. It's rare that we have more than 1 or 2 people up there per day. It's been pretty decent these last couple months. But it does happen. A lot of people go up there. It's actually a pretty difficult trail when they get towards the top. And I think the latest one we had was some people from out of town, and they actually had some young kids. That's way too advanced for kids to go up in there. Because if you go to the top, I don't know if any of you have been up there, but the top is eroded away mostly if you're going around the rim. So a lot of people get up there and they realize like, geez, I shouldn't have been up here. And even on the falls, going up through the falls, there's a couple falls up there. That's even also difficult. If they're just hiking up to the first falls, not too bad. But even when it gets wet in there, it gets really rutted and rainy. A lot of people don't realize that. That's with a lot of trails around the island, really. It's difficult terrain. There's some better that have a better route, better path. That trail is pretty rutted and gets pretty muddy, and it is not fun to hike on, really. It has great views, but yeah, it's unfortunate that social media gets out there and posts that it's a doable trail, but there's a lot of people that really need to look at their physical abilities and really take that into account. I know they sometimes grade these trails that they are difficult, but people keep coming up there and going beyond their means. So yeah, but we continue to go up to help them if they need us.
Thank you, Captain Miller.
You're welcome.
Okay, thanks for the report. So seeing no other questions, I will move on to the next agenda item. Is there anyone from the Honolulu Police Department for the monthly report?
Yes. Hi, good evening. Lieutenant Nishimura from HPD District 7. The following is the monthly statistics for March 2024. Motor vehicle theft, 11. Burglary, 1. Theft, 12. UEMV or car break-ins, 5. With total calls for service, 6,238. And our safety tip for the month is how to prevent from becoming a victim of the various types of scams that are out there. There are various types of scams out there, and it's only limited to the person trying to do the scam's imagination. Two of the more common scams that are occurring right now are scams occurring online, where they'll try to mine your personal information and then get access to or open access to your bank accounts and things like that, or try to open credit cards and stuff in your name to get credit. And also where they pose as a government official and try to get you to send money for them. One of the more common ones is they'll pose as maybe an IRS agent, or we've also been hearing other law enforcement officials saying that you have a warrant and they want you to send in money for those types of things. So generally speaking, If you receive a call or an email or some type of inquiry requesting your personal information or any type of information that may have some type of connection to your identity, if you're suspicious, then you probably have very good reason to be suspicious. And please to look into the source of that, where that request is coming from, to see if you can verify that information. Some of the other ways that individuals can be scammed are from auto repair or house projects. So with regards to those, please check your source and make sure that they're vetted and verified to do the work that they are that you are requesting them to do. And of course, in every case, please again, don't give up any of your personal information or organizations until you can verify the accuracy that they are who they say they are. But that's the report for the month. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Any questions from board members? No. Questions from the community?
Officer, I've been getting a lot of calls from the police department. The guy says he's from the police department and they're looking for money because, get so many crimes and everything, you know what I mean? And I know that it's a scam. So I tell the guy that I know mostly all the guys from District 7, you know what I mean? You know where District 7 is, on the 2nd Avenue. Then he hangs up, but and they keep on calling it. They say
Yeah, they'll keep
police in the
they'll,
police
they'll keep
department.
on calling and they'll keep on trying until they are successful. But yes, there will be no law enforcement agency that will call your house or email you or make any kind of request for you to send in money. And anytime, like I said, anytime you're suspicious, ask them to verify their that they are actually indeed law enforcement. Thank you.
Isn't there any way we can stop these guys from making scam, thinking that the people, guys, maybe after 60, they think they're stupid or something, you know what I mean? But you gotta stop this stuff here, you know what I mean? It's very annoying.
Yeah, I agree. And we try to do the best we can. The difficult part that we have is sometimes we don't know exactly where these individuals are. So a lot of times they're coming from outside of the state and even sometimes the country. And that's what makes these things very, very difficult for us to track down. But as much information as we have, you can always call for an officer. An officer can document the incident, and then whatever information we can obtain, we try to investigate as best as we can.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Board Member Shiraki.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board members or community members? Okay, thank you, Lieutenant. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay, so moving on, is Dominic available for the Board of Water Supply
Yep.
monthly report?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Let's see here. Looking back at the month of March, we did have one main, it wasn't a break, it was a leak, fronting 1994 9th Avenue. Actually, oddly enough, I saw some water seeping up out of the ground when I went on a walk with my kids, and I called it in and they came out and investigated. It did turn out to be a leak, so they did do a main replacement. That portion of water line is scheduled to be replaced under the upcoming Palolo Water System Improvement Phase 3 project. So they did a temporary repair on the line, and that will ultimately be replaced with a new water line, the upcoming project. Currently in the valley, we have a Waiomao Homestead Road 8-inch water main installation project. And as of this morning, when I checked, it's about 25% complete. And I guess when that project wraps up, they will then look to proceed with the Palolo Water Systems Part 3. Other than that, the Board of Water Supply is observing, in partnership with Hardware Hawaii, Detect a Leak Week. That's April 14th through the 20th. I don't know about anybody else, but today was really hot. We're heading into the summer. Water use always goes up, so we want people to be mindful of water usage. Check your home, your residence, places of business for leaks. Common culprits, the flapper valve in the toilet. If you hear that little whistling, you hear the toilet refilling every once in a while, you should just replace the flapper valve. It's a couple dollars. And over the course of a year, it can save a significant amount of water. So we encourage people to check your homes, look for leaks, get those fixed. On April 17th, the Board of Water Supply is going to have a booth set up at Tamarind Park there on Bishop Street. We're going to have some informational packets on water conservation and leak detection. There's going to be some games and prizes. Again, that's April 17th from 11:30 to 1 o'clock. So midday lunchtime there on Bishop Street. And if anybody has any questions for the Board of Water Supply, I'd be happy to take those at this time.
Thank you, Dominic. Any questions from board members? Seeing none, any questions? Oh, I'm sorry. Board member Kawamoto.
Hello? Hi. Could you give us an update on what's been happening with the military and the defueling and where all of that is at right now?
Exactly where they're at. You know, last I checked, last I heard, I only heard what was, you know, put out in the news. The majority of the defueling had occurred. I believe they said it was going to be several months before they were able to pump out the last portions of fuel, I think, on the bottoms of the tanks. But I believe there's an update section on our website, www.boardofwatersupply.com. I'd have to go back and check how current that is. But I will go back and get a report. I can report back to the board on the status of those efforts.
Thank you, because I know that the military has, quite a few of them have pulled out of the process right now and turned it over to others. But there's still, we just want to make sure the responsibility for that is managed. And also, we haven't heard anything about the actual fuel line where the fuel would go from the tanks down to Pearl Harbor. So we're just concerned about that community where the fuel lines were going from, again, over there at the beginning, near the Kaiser Moana Lua, all the way
Right.
down to Pearl Harbor.
Right.
So
yeah.
what is their process that we're looking at? I guess that'd be like a phase 2 or 3 of checking for any fuel leaks because of how old that line was that went down. Mahalo.
Yes, I will look into that and report back what I can find.
Thank you, Dominic. You have a question? Board member Shiraki.
Dominic,
Yes.
you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, anyway, you know you bought any flour, make sure to tell them the whole Palolo, they would bought, thank you for all the work you did now, okay? He's the main man, you know, because not everybody going to get sick because once we lose our water, we all dead. So tell him that we're all happy for the job he's doing, okay?
I will
Thank
pass
you,
it on.
Dominic.
Okay, thank you, board member Shiraki. You'll be happy to hear the presentation that's happening later in the meeting. Okay, any other questions for Dominic or the Board of Water Supply? Okay,
All right.
great. So we'll move on to the next part of the agenda, resident community or concerns. It's really exciting to see some new faces and people here who are attending in person. So if you would like to voice your concern or any other issue you would like to raise to the board, now is the time. Okay. Okay, seeing none, we'll jump right into our presentations. So today we are fortunate to have Sonny Fong, who is with the Department of Facilities and Maintenance, and Cyrus Howe from the Hawaii Green Growth. Collectively, we'll be talking about the Palolo watershed. So we appreciate the discussion on, the importance of water. So should we start with Hawaii Green Growth? Okay. So board members, a handout was prepared. That is the single handout that has the words follow the drop in there. And for community members, There are handouts here on this table if you would like more information also. And I realized for board members online, I can't always see you. So I think Logan can. So if you have if you want to. Oh, okay. So we can't see you. So if you want to be recognized, just voice your concern. So I'm going to turn it over now to Cyrus.
Thank you, Chair. Aloha board and aloha everyone. My name is Cyrus Howe. I work at Hawaii Green Growth, and I'm here to present about a project that we're embarking on here in Palolo and across the greater Alawai watershed that is sponsored by a federal grant through the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation and also the Hawaii Community Foundation. And across the bottom of your screens, you can see all of our partners. Next slide, please. I won't go through all of this, but just to give you an idea of our project timeline, we are basically conducting rainwater assessments across residential, public, and commercial properties throughout the Palolo neighborhood and surrounding neighborhoods. The territory of the whole Alawai watershed is essentially between Diamond Head and Punch Bowl, from the ridge tops of the Ko'olaus down to the reefs. And so right now we're hiring interns and we're getting our team together in order to conduct those assessments through fall, winter of this year. Next slide. So joining me today is our colleague and partner, co-founder and CEO of 3R Water, which is the company that's developed the Follow the Drop app that is the primary tool that will be used to conduct these rainwater assessments, which will tell us what type and size of rain catchment solutions to propose to residents, whether it's a rain garden or rain barrels. So with more details about that, I'm going to invite Lauren up.
Thank you, Cyrus. Thank you, everyone, for letting me be here today. I'm Lauren Roth-Beno. I'm the founder of 3R Water and Follow the Drop. I don't know how to. Oh, like. So as Cyrus mentioned, we developed the Follow the Drop mobile app. Actually, was developed in partnership with the Hawaii Community Foundation with what's called the Freshwater Initiative. We started in 2018 working with Kupu. Developed a curriculum around it, but the main premise of it is really for private property owners to identify where and how much stormwater is being generated on their property. And then importantly, it optimizes different solutions you can do. So these are types of green stormwater infrastructure. And it's evolved over the years where we have partnered with the City and County Department of Facility Maintenance to support their efforts in green infrastructure. And that's they're a key partner in this program. Oh, I'm going back to you. So just real quick, that's kind of some of the interfaces. Again, it's meant to really be a community engagement tool. It's also allowing to both the user or homeowner to collect data. Like once you get these projects installed, it'll alert you when storms are coming and how much volume you might be capturing in your catchment tank. It'll give you data metrics of how much money you'll be saving when you get these things installed. So it's really meant to be like, if you're familiar with like the HECO Energy app or other water utility apps, it's that for stormwater.
Sorry, I'm just going to interrupt
Yeah.
the presentation. So council member and deputy, I really appreciate the engagement, but if we're going to talk during the presentation, let's take it outside. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So anyway, here's just some of the interfaces that you would see eventually if you were to download. I'll give you the key and account key if you want to download it. But once you get things installed, it'll give you some of the metrics of volumes that your own property is collecting. And then collectively across the city, there's this, ability to have transparency about how much volume as a city that is being managed with stormwater of the projects that are implemented in the app. Okay, so just to give you a glimpse of what this program is going to be in 2020 and 2022, and funded by DFM, we originally piloted the app and this community partnership with Malama Mauna Lua. So, and I'll just give you a highlight of what's going to be coming here for Palolo. So what we're doing right now is we're doing some baseline assessments of the whole watershed to identify priority areas where green infrastructure could go in. And then with those priority areas, you can go ahead and with those priority areas, for example, here, this is the whole watershed of Aina Haina. This was identified as a priority watershed for Board of Water, as well as DFM, because the amount of water being used, for example, isn't the basically the amount that the aquifer has to support Aina Haina in that area. So the more recharge they could get through these types of practices or catchment would help support the water conservation program. And then if you can remember in 2018, there was those awful floods that happened in Aina Haina. So it is a flood measurement and mitigation looking at green infrastructure. So we actually went in remotely with the app, 1,800 odd properties. I'm not going to give you all the results, but just some of the highlights. So we divided up the watershed into different kind of neighborhoods. We did both residential, commercial, and schools. But just to give you this one picture, because it's kind of like Palolo, you get about 53 inches or 55 inches of rainfall in these 80 odd homes. If everyone were to implement optimum size green infrastructure, like a rain garden, catchment tank, permeable pavement, that could save about, basically 90%. You'd be capturing, retaining about 90% of the stormwater runoff. What was interesting is like that's the equivalent of about 50% of the home water usage. So it really has that coupling event of both being a water conservation measure and a flood mitigation and water quality measure. I keep pointing to you, sorry. It's late. And so then we did this for commercial properties. So this is the shopping center, essentially did the same thing, looked at how much volume is currently happening on an annual basis and what potential for reduction could be. Again, if you only were to implement smaller projects, you don't quite get the volume reduction that you could achieve. And again, about 90% if they were to implement permeable pavement or other types of strategies. And then we did the same thing for schools. And importantly, so we're already connected here to have an assessment done for Palolo Elementary. I think that's in next week. We are also going to be, oh no, that's May 1st. But then we're also going to be doing one for Ali'iolani. Hopefully we can get a connection at Nui Nui. But the idea is really getting school engagement as well and identifying projects. You can keep going, yeah. So just in summary, so we'll have a similar output to some degree. But the real kind of like, I think, eye-awakening thing is that the real bulk of the stormwater runoff is coming from residential property. It's like 95%. So it's really important that we do engage property owners, be part of the solution. And then also importantly, like the information that we're collecting in partnership with the city is helping to support what a future incentive program. I don't have time to go into it all today, but the other part of this is there was another piece of funding that came through Hawaii Community Foundation. So later this year, there's also going to be a launch of a pilot incentive program where people can apply for a grant or rebate to get their projects installed. Go ahead. So then like with that data, like a basic understanding, like of course not everyone's going to implement these optimum size solutions. We wanted to then go into kind of pockets of people to do actual with these rainwater assessments. So people will sign up on a website called rainwaterhawaii.com. Program's currently being run in Windward, Oahu with Hui Kola Poko. So if you do go check that out, you'll see it's just for Windward, but we're gonna be opening that up to the Palolo residents. And then we go in and essentially do these assessments and really try to understand what people are selecting, what people would implement with or without additional funding. Go ahead. And so with that study, with Malama Maunalua, for example, we found that the vast majority are going to have a blockage up there, but it's like, yeah, 73% of the people were really interested in rainwater catchment tanks. And that's important to know because if a program does get kind of boosted, then maybe more funding can go towards incentives for rainwater catchment, for example. But some of the important numbers, just with these 200 some odd projects, that would be equivalent of about over 600,000 gallons of stormwater that could be captured per year. So that's pretty significant. And then just some ending, Cyrus talked about the NIFWIF partnership, briefly mentioned about the incentive program coming, that we think that's going to happen probably later, again, this fall or winter. So it's a perfect timing to be in line with these free rainwater assessments. Hawaii Green Growth can help people apply for that program during these assessments. The other kind of cool thing is right now we have launched the app for anyone within the Alawai watershed to download and use and give some feedback. So if you just go to the city's website or if you DFM or if you go to just the Apple Store or Google Play, the app is called Follow the Drop. You will need to set up your own user registration. And then you need to, for the account ID, put in capital HGG. And that's the way that you'll be able to actually use the app for yourself. But if you want to have some help, contact Cyrus in the meantime, and then we'll be launching that program officially later this summer. I think that's it. But yeah. Your thumb
No,
there?
that's
Okay.
fine. Yeah.
Go to the QR code and sign up. Right. Yeah, we'll introduce, so Sani and Randall from DFM, they're in partnership with this program, and they're going to talk to you about their stream water, the stream. Water quality.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board, and members of the public. I am Randall Wakamoto. I'm the program administrator for our Stormwater Quality Division under our Department of Facility Maintenance. And like Lauren and Cyrus mentioned, we're a partner with this overall project. And what we wanted to share was sort of an update and overview of our overall monitoring that we're doing in this particular area. And I'd like to introduce and turn this over to my lead planner, Sonny Fong, who's leading this effort and developing this overall long-term monitoring approach, which in this case, we monitor and sample throughout the island, but we haven't been able to really demonstrate what kind of impacts and if there's any improvements in the water quality because we're so spread out. But what we wanted to do was focus in Palolo particularly because it's a perennial stream and we can see there's opportunities to show improvements in the water quality. So in this case, I'd like to turn it over to Sani and she can kind of give an overview of that monitoring that we'll be conducting starting this year.
Thanks, Randall. You can go to the next slide. Thank you, everyone. So Randall pretty much covered what I was going to say in a nutshell. So I'll be really brief. As he said, we have been doing a lot of work across the island in terms of trying to ensure that our stormwater does not degrade the quality of the water in our streams. But we're not really certain if we're actually having a measurable impact on the water quality. Is the water quality improving? So what we've decided to do is sort of focus our efforts in one particular stream to see if we can first characterize the stream. So what does the stream look like in terms of nutrients that are in there, phosphorus, nitrogen, etc. Then, oh, we can go to the next slide, sorry. Maybe the next slide. Go back. Previous slide. Okay. Then we'll look at all that water quality. We will try to see what is the information telling us. Are there hot spots? Are there areas where we can identify the sources of those pollutants? And then, having looked at that, what can we do to actually implement some sort of process, measure, BMP, something that will actually reduce the volume of the water that is actually entering the stream, the stormwater, or improve the quality, reduce the nutrients that are in the stormwater. You can go to the next slide. So that actually, in a nutshell, is what the project is. We've started with monitoring, and we're going to do that for the next 2 years. We're going to have base flow, storm flow monitoring. We're going to look at the information, and then from that information, we're going to say, what are some of the projects that we're going to have to, that we think would be useful? And at that point, we're going to keep coming back to the board, because once we've gotten that information, when we see it, we say, okay, well, what does this look like to you? Does this make sense to you? What do you think maybe some of the sources? We've identified some things, but do you agree? And even with the solutions that we're thinking about, do you think it's workable or not? One other quick snapshot we wanted to show you, can go to the next slide. So besides this focused project, the Stormwater Quality Division has been collecting data on, as Randall said, across the island in many different streams. And we monitor for a number of different pollutants. And I've just put up phosphorus here, just to give you an idea. This shows the points along, the sampling points along the stream. And the size of the bubble really shows you the level, if you want to call that, of phosphorus that's in the stream at that point. It's just a point in time. Unfortunately, phosphorus is usually too high in Palolo stream. And what are some of the reasons for that? Nutrients entering through erosion, animal waste, fertilizer. As Lauren mentioned, there's a lot of runoff from homes, and that's taking a lot of the stuff into the streams. So that tells us, the different points that may be hotspots and what may be opportunities for us to actually address the issue. So we just wanted to present that to you. And if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer. And also look out for us. We'll be coming back to share the data that we have, as well as get your feedback on what are some possible things that we could do to improve the water quality. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you to Cyrus, Lauren, and Randall and Sunny. So board members, just to jog our memories, in the December meeting, we passed a resolution, in support of the work that 808 Cleanups was doing at Pukele Stream. So I know that water has been an interest of this board, so we appreciate everyone taking the time to come down and talk about some new initiatives that are happening. Any questions from board members? Yep, Board Member Kawamoto.
Mahalo again for all this amazing information to help our community. So, how does what you also monitor, I had some thoughts about what you're monitoring. Does it also coordinate with getting information regarding concerns about more flooding because of activity, rock slides, stream habitat changes, and what kind of pollutants get picked up in this process of what we're looking at? So what we should be looking out for. And then I'm reading what you're saying on one of the slides that bigger bubbles may also equal bigger problems because of what it's going to do. So how do we meter that? Perhaps on something that keeps an alert out there for community. That might be something that if anybody's offering that to go out there and help us be aware. And what can we do to make sure that those polluting factors are managed and again impacts to what happens to the soil here and property. Mahalo.
I think those are the questions that we hope that the data will help us to answer. So I just put up just a quick snapshot, the phosphorus and nitrogen, I also had that one as well. Again, that's from runoff, fertilizer, animal waste, and so on, which, is always a problem. But there's several others. We're looking at metals, lots of different things. And when you put all of that information together, we're hoping that it will tell a story of what the possible sources could be. And that's, like I said, that's what we want to come back and talk to you all about. This is what we're seeing, and this is what we think may be the issues. So some of the issues may be outside of the city's control or outside of the city's jurisdiction. So like Pukele Stream had a pretty big bubble, but that area is most likely influenced further upstream outside of the city's stormwater system. So we really can't do anything about that, but maybe that would be an opportunity for partnership with those who can do something about that, probably the runoff there, the erosion and so on. Maybe there's an opportunity there. So that's just an example of what kind of information we hope will point to possible partnerships, possible solutions. And again, that's why I want to tap into all, because you live here and you have ideas and you have knowledge that we may not have about, different aspects of it. So we're looking forward to coming back with that. I don't know if Randall had to say anything else.
Well, actually, Sonny did a good job of explaining that, but I think also just to let you know that we are working in partnership, a joint funding agreement with the U.S. Geological Survey. So they do this constant monitoring in this particular area. They've been doing historical data. So this is going on, 40 years, but all of that data is available, but they do it all the way at the kind of at the upper headwaters of the Palolo watershed. And then they also do at the lower part where the confluence where Manoa and Palolo come together. So that's where we're coming in between, right? We're monitoring in between from the bottom part, from the upper part. But it does have information that they're collecting constantly for stream flows. So like you asked the question about flooding and things. So they have historical data in terms of when you have those big rain events, you're going to see the stream flows increasing, obviously. And so that kind of indicates that, when we look at the data to see what was the impacts and how much sediment that came through. And then that's where we're trying to start coming up with these sort of recommendations and possible partnership opportunities. So that's just something that also we're leveraging that data with the data that we're going to also be collecting.
To add to that, I guess one of the other concerns is growth in the community. And so when we say monster homes and permit processes and all these things that add to, in addition to what you're preparing for all of us, it'll help us be more Hawaii and Maka'ala more forward, right? In making sure that the future of what you do is included in the process of how we're continuing to try and find solutions in housing. So maybe what you do can also help future housing projects before they start. So that's what we're hoping to get more info. Mahalo.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's a very good point. And we definitely want to continue to monitor that as well and see what those impacts are. And I just also want to mention, like what you talk about a lot is it's a lot of education, just informing people the importance of water, the importance of water quality and the environment as a whole and how it impacts the habitat and the folks that live in that area. So we are working in partnership with like Chaminade University, with the local elementary schools. We actually have certain stations that we're looking to establish on these properties. And actually with St. Louis and Chaminade, they're actually going to be running a sampling station side by side with ours so that they can actually, with their students and their professors, they're hoping to be able to kind of, sharing data, and we can also kind of work with them as well.
Thank you, Board Member Palolo. Any other questions from board members? Okay, so that was a lot of good information. And I think my takeaway, especially for all of us who do have residences, private residences here in Palolo, and I know some of us do have ties to, commercial and other nonprofit entities. As Lauren and Cyrus pointed out, they will be doing free rainwater assessments, and that will help us determine, the level of rainfall that we can accept on those properties. And I think if we take advantage of those free opportunities, we can position ourselves to be eligible for funding when they become available if that incentive program comes online. So I know that water is, obviously very important, and for our board, historically over the years, there has been an interest in stormwater management, especially relating to the Army Corps' proposed water basins. So this will help also inform some of those solutions. Okay. Seeing no other. Yes, Dominic, I see your hand.
Yeah, so I just wanted to chime in real quick. Great presentation. In the first portion, the discussion on baseline rain assessments and some of the opportunities for residences and homeowners. The Board of Water Supply has always been a huge proponent of the rain barrel, rain catchment programs. And it was great to see somebody else highlighting that there and, trying to spread that as a program. We host workshops throughout the year where people can sign up and they are able to make a rain barrel and they take it home with them. And it often fills, we are never able to accommodate the full list of people that try and apply. So it's nice to see that information spreading beyond. And we definitely, I just in support of it, all the ideas discussed and, all efforts towards, water quality. I'm all for it. So it's great presentation. Appreciate the information, guys.
Yes, we agree here. Dominic, since you did speak up, can you remind us what the rebate amount is for a rain garden or a rain barrel or something like that?
So I believe our current program offers, well, if you sign up for the workshop, I don't know what the fee is. It's very minimal and you actually end up with a rain barrel. But like I said, those fill up. We do have a rebate program that offers a $40, it's a $40 rebate on rain barrel products. Let's see if I can pull up the list here. Hardware Hawaii, Hawaiian style rain gutters, NEX Garden Shop, Sam's Club, City Mill, Urban Farmer Store, and any other online retailer. So if you go to the Board of Water Supply's website, www.boardofwatersupply.com, right on the homepage, there should be a link to rebates, but if you just search rebates, it'll pop up. We have a bunch of other rebates as well, toilet, low flush toilets, high efficiency washers, weather-based irrigation controllers. So it's just one of many rebates that we do offer.
Cool. Sorry for putting you on the spot, but thanks, Dominic. Okay. And thank you again to Lauren, Cyrus, Sonny, and Randall. So we're fortunate to have Deputy Mamizuka as our mayor's representative. So we appreciate the support by DFM. Okay, so we're going to move on to board business now. The first is the election of officers. So unfortunately, board members, Rusty Onishi did drop out as a board member, and he was serving as our treasurer. So that position has been vacated. So the first agenda item for board business is the election of the treasurer position.
I nominate Randy Hack as treasurer.
A motion has been made and seconded. I will close nominations.
No worries, I got it. Okay, so the nomination was made by member Shiraki. You guys actually don't need a second for nominations, but it's for member Hack to become the treasurer. So I'll just take us through a roll call. It's a little silly. I know there's only one nominations, but if you guys could just say the last name, Hack, Oswego, Ige, Hack, Kawamoto, Mao, McColgan,
Hack.
Nakayama,
Hack.
Shiraki, Turbin, Hack.
Board member Hack.
You're muted, Randy.
Got it.
Sorry, what did you say, Randy?
Hack.
And Peros.
Hack.
We have 8 votes for member Hack.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for your support.
Okay, newly elected treasurer Hack, would you like to say any words at this moment?
Sorry, I'm not feeling too well, so otherwise I'd be up there. Sorry. Hey, bye-bye. Thank you. I'll serve.
Thank you. We appreciate your service. Okay, the next agenda item, if you would like to be a part of our friendly and awesome board, we do have vacancies, 2 in sub-district number 2, 1 in sub-district number 1. Oh, I'm sorry, 1 in sub-district number 4. And I'm 2 in sub-district number 3. So that's basically 1 in the sub-district closest to Wailai, and then 2 in the sub-district second closest to Wailai. So if you live anywhere past the park, I think you're in either 2 or 1. Treasurer Hack, what's up?
Did we have someone in financial services from? Did he join our board? I've never seen him.
Yeah, so in our December meeting, we did have Rick Arroyo, and he was, I don't know if appointed is the right word, but then he never made it to the next board meeting, unfortunately.
I mean, I told him.
Moved out of our district. Randy, he moved out of our district and
He
resigned
did,
from our
okay.
district.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, he was sub-district 4, I believe. All right, thank you.
Okay, so neighborhood closest to Wailai, then some neighborhood maybe close to the church or something. Okay, we have 3 spots, so everyone go tell your friends and neighbors. Okay, so moving on. The next agenda item is the approval of the regular meeting written summary for our March meeting. So thank you, Board Member Nakayama and our neighborhood assistant Logan for putting that together. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Welcome.
Okay, the motion has been moved to approve the minutes. Do we have a second?
Second, Darlene seconds.
Oh, thank you. Okay, any objections? Seeing none, motion has passed. Thank you again.
Welcome.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Okay, so the next agenda item, the establishment of a permitted interaction group for the Trees for Palolo, planting trees, growing communities. So board members, again, to jog our memories, in our December meeting, we had a presentation from Trees for Honolulu's Future and the Smart Trees Pacific, and they discussed their application to the Ka'ulunani program within the State Department of Land and Natural Resources. So we are super happy to say that they were successful in their application. So we have $50,000 coming to Palolo Valley for trees. So yeah, woo. Okay, so, before a motion is made, and I'm sorry I stole his thunder already, but I would like to welcome Dan, who is with Trees for Honolulu's Future and was really the spearhead of this effort.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Dan Donnell with Trees for Honolulu's Future. And this is great timing because trees are a type of green infrastructure. So hearing the follow the drop and all of that, it all really complements how to make a more livable and sustainable community. So yes, you already found out. Excited to share, we received a $50,000 grant from Ka'ulunani, which is a part of the Division of Land and Natural Resources. And this program really builds off of some success that we had in Kaimuki, a similar name. It was called Trees for Kaimuki. And that was also an initiative of the Kaimuki Neighborhood Board. They have a permitted interaction group there called Envision Kaimuki. So board chair and I talked and we said, well, this isn't Trees for Honolulu's plan. This has to be the community's plan. So if this motion passes, it would allow board members to meet, subject with the Sunshine Law. And it would also, I really want to stress, we want non-board members, residents, people who are here tonight, people who aren't here tonight to participate and really upfront determine what is the vision, how do we best go about it. And as part of that, I'm super pleased to share, Alan didn't steal this thunder, that we actually took the Kaimuki project and what were the lessons learned about community engagement. So I have a copy for each board member and the neighborhood assistant. I have a few more copies if anyone in the audience wants to have it. But it really talks about what we learned in our Kaimuki endeavors. And it's just a nice, it's not a cookbook. I really got to stress that, but it's a nice way of approaching community engagement. And then the last thing I wanted to mention, I think now is a appropriate time. Well, two things. One is, Chair asked me to talk about Exceptional Tree Program. There's a program, it's a state program since the 1970s to designate trees statewide that are exceptional. And I happen to be on the mayor's Arborist Advisory Committee. There's 8 criteria, and it's really broad there: location, age, historical value, endemic status, size, aesthetic quality, rarity, and cultural value. Do you know there's no trees that are considered exceptional trees in Palolo? 0. And that's just not true. There are trees in Palolo that are truly exceptional. And this is a program that it's open to any property owner. So public property, private property, nonprofit, it doesn't matter who owns the property, you apply and you need to explain why this particular tree is exceptional. One note for private property owners, it comes with an income tax credit. So that's a inducement that the state provides. So I have a couple of flyers on that. It's not directly tied to this Trees for Palolo initiative, except that I really would want to encourage residents to be thinking about which trees are exceptional. And again, the key factor is the homeowner or the landowner permission. And then the other thing I said how we welcome support. So, you know, I learned in presentation school, you need a nice graphic with the name. I didn't do that. So we have an email address set up. It's treesforpalolo@treesforhonolulu.org. So not very hard. If you're interested, you can reach out, email there, talk with the board chair, myself tonight. But again, all those people at home and who are going to watch this, treesforpalolo@treesforhonolulu.org. Happy to answer any questions and super excited about what we're about to embark on.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan. Okay, so according to Sunshine, the permitted interaction group, it needs to be more than 2, but no more than quorum. So for us, it needs to be between 3 and 6 people. And I believe the motion should include the board members specifically who will be on that. But as Dan said, you know, more importantly, I think we should be explicit that the permitted interaction group should include members of the community who are not board members. So I will entertain discussion before a motion is made. And I guess the easiest way to guide the discussion would be to voice if you are interested in being on this permitted interaction group. I do, but I will recuse if we have more than 5 people interested.
Happy to join you, Chair. Thank you.
So I don't want to pull teeth. So I do see, thank you, Board Member Ige and Board Member Kawamoto for expressing interest. I did have a chance to speak with Board Member Oswega as well, who expressed an interest in joining the this group. So that would take us up to 4. Seeing no one else interested, if someone can make and second the motion.
Okay, I make a motion that a permitted interaction group or PIG be formed, named Trees for Palolo. Is that correct? Is that correct? Did I do it correctly?
Yeah, that's good, Board Member Hack. I don't know if we need to specify the board members who will participate in it, but just to clarify the motion that was made, it's to establish a permitted interaction group to discuss trees for Palolo, planting trees, growing communities, with board members Ige, Kawamoto, Oswega, and Peros to be included in the group, as well as any community member or leader, really anyone else not on the board.
Second the motion.
Okay, thank you. The motion has been moved and seconded. Seeing no objections, the motion is passed.
Thank you. So it's a
Thank you,
real
Dan.
worthwhile, I've been to the Envision Kaimuki presentation, Trees for, I've heard Dan Donnell before. It's a very worthwhile thing. And I mean, trees really help cover and hold the stormwater too. They cover us from the glare of the sun. Very good, very worthy cause.
Yes, thank you, Board Member Hack. So we are so fortunate, again, $50,000 for trees in Palolo. So thank you, Dan, for you and your team for getting us here so far. And we look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on to the next agenda item. This is a resolution that was emailed to you all, and this continues our discussion on some of the projects that we hope to be included in the Honolulu City Council's budget bills. So, I don't know if discussion is needed. The resolution that was sent basically outlines, again, the concern over the outdoor court lighting at the Palolo Valley District Park. It also expresses our gratitude for the Neighborhood Commission Office and specifically our neighborhood assistant, Logan, and I don't know if James is contracted or with the NCO officially, but we appreciate your support as well. Any discussion before a motion is made here? The sirens were more of a state funding issue, and they actually do have funding for it now. Yeah. Okay, so Board Member Kawamoto's question was just on the inclusion of certain projects in this resolution. So to that point, if anyone else has any other projects that they would like to include in this resolution, we can make that known in the motion when made. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to adopt a resolution urging the Honolulu City Council to include funding for specific projects in the operating and capital budget bills of 2024.
Chair, I second that motion.
Thank you, Board Member Nakayama. Okay, so the motion has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, any objections? Okay, thank you. Okay, seeing none, the motion is passed. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next is a resolution urging the Hawaii State Legislature to include funding for specific projects in the Supplemental Appropriations Act of 2024. So I know in the past, as Board Member Kawamoto brought up, and I know that Board Member Nakayama did as well as Board Member Shiraki, the concerns over the sirens. And in our last meeting, Board Member Asuega brought up the issues at Kaimuki High School. So this resolution was kind of more of a template to include some funding for Kaimuki. Because of my involvement with the state, I will be recusing myself from this vote.
Okay.
So the resolution that was sent last night just urges the legislature to include funding for Kaimuki. So if anyone has any, I'll entertain discussion and to identify any other projects that could be included in that resolution.
Chair, do we still have perhaps things that can be done with the pool area, our pool, and also the community center, the building where they have the basketball and all the activities? Yeah, and then there's one other thing is that inclusive of trying to make sure safety in the park? What kind of things that we can do to look out for, say, vagrants or different groups that kind of amass in the park, when we were talking about kids out there and nobody's there to monitor? So things of that nature. Thank you.
Yeah, so most of the issues that you bring up are with the city. Yeah. Yeah. But the language in the reso was quite broad as far as outdoor court lighting and other improvements at the park. So we can just include it in that, the second half of that. No worries.
So do you need a motion of some kind? There's more discussion. I'm sorry. I'm out of order. Sorry about that.
No, you're good, Board Member Hack. Yeah, I don't know if there's more discussion on
need-
this from the board
Are we
members.
ready for a motion?
Thank you. Board Member Hack has made the motion.
Okay.
Thank you. Seconded by Vice Chair Mao.
Okay,
So the
thank-
motion here is urging the Hawaii State Legislature to include funding for specified projects. Again, I will recuse myself, so I will have Vice Chair take the vote.
Yeah, I mean, you can just do the same by voice vote and just note
Voice
that you're
vote,
abstaining.
okay.
Any concerns to the motion that has been moved and seconded? Okay, seeing none, the motion is passed with the chair abstaining.
Okay, thank you. And just to, these are advisory, you know, we're strictly a citizens advisory group. The public should know that. I mean, it's not like that someone can come back to us and say, you know, nothing happened. You got to go to the city and the state agencies for that.
Thank you, Board Member Hack. Yes, we have done all that we can at this point. So. Yeah. Okay, great, thanks. So that takes us to agenda item number 6, our reports from our elected officials. I don't think we have anyone from Congressman Case's office, but I did somehow manage to get on their newsletter email
Yeah,
blast or
saw
something.
that,
So
yeah.
yeah, so we'll drop that in the share drive. Oh, yes. Yeah, we did call that and then it. Okay. Okay, so just to make sure that our elected officials can address your concern if you have one for them. Yep, please. So we are going back to agenda item number 3, the resident and community concerns.
Thank you, since I'm the only resident. Am I the only resident?
Good.
No,
That wants to speak. Maybe not.
you're the first one.
So, I'm sorry, my name's Corey Cott. I live up on Waimau. So about, if you take a 2,000-foot walk up to Kuahea, where they had that reconstruction project. I know this was like a hot topic of debate, like on a monthly basis, like during our Zoom meetings on the pandemic where we would get updates. But I think what was sorely forgotten was Kuahea Place. So it's literally about 700 steps from here. And Kuahea Place has about like 6 or 7 houses on it. It never got fixed. It didn't get fixed like before the pandemic, during the pandemic, or after the pandemic. And all of these people, you know, they would like to probably like drive their car, you know, to their garage and like unload their groceries, or maybe like fix their washing machine and have a repairman come over, or maybe have the handy van pick you up like on your street. Anyway, I got a letter here, and why I think it was forgotten is because, and I know my 3 minutes is probably up, but so this is a city and county letter, and this is a different mayor and a different administration now than this was at Caldwell. So we've had a previous council person, Ann Kobayashi. She was completely in support of this, but this is from 2016, and it's on city letterhead, and it basically is to inform the community residents that live in the area who are going to be impacted that Kuahea Street, Kuahea Place, and Hilo are going to be resurfaced. So there was this discussion that Kuahea Place was a private street. Well, this kind of solves that issue, because prior to like the devastating impacts and the landslide and the sewer break under Kuahea Place and Kuahea, which happened like repeatedly, I think twice since 2009, that street has like slid. And so basically you can't, just up until last year, they finally got mail service. Our wonderful mail lady Lola got from her higher up boss, she got a stipend So the Kuahea Place could finally get like a mailbox put in place so that I think the 7 residents that are there could get their mail, but they can't get handy van service, trash pickup. I believe, you know, if you had like a severe emergency, like a heart attack or something, I don't even know if emergency services they definitely would have to go up on foot. But literally, this is a document, and here's another document that shows the map of, and this is from 2017. It never got done, but this was, you know, working with AECOM and I guess one of the contractors. It says clearly that the resurfacing of Kuahea Place and Kilo Place. And I really want it to be back like on the agenda, like monthly. If you guys could just like keep updating the community of where we are with that project, because I don't even live on that street. It's behind me. And right in that area, after they finally reopened, after 6 years of closure, they opened Kuahea. Kuahea Place completely got neglected and forgotten. So next month, I would really appreciate it. You guys could make this like a priority. And I'm sure Calvin and, you know, maybe some of the other interested parties like Department of Design and Construction, or I don't really know who's going to, you know, go up there and survey this situation, but they have been waiting for years. And, you know, let's make it personal. We're talking about Shirley, Roy and Rose. We're talking about Matt and Mike. I think Matt just lives up there. Ashley and her husband Noji, and they had 2 babies. They had 2 babies up on that street, and they can't even drive. I mean, can you imagine having 2 children and you have a baby stroller and, you know, all of your, you know, infant's belongings, and you can't even like load it into your car because you got to like, you know, traverse a path. It's not even as wide as this table. I would say it's probably not even maybe 24 inches wide on a steep slope where I know Shirley that lives up there, who's like, I think 83 or 84 years old. She had crawling gloves. And I mean, I think it's elder abuse, really. And the fact that Kuahea got fixed and Kuahea Place, which was named after Kuahea, never got addressed or resolved, or, I mean, literally, those poor people they're just still waiting. And I mean, I know that there was like an update and there's an issue of like I said, whether it's private or not, but if we could finally get our city council to like, I guess they need funding, you know, maybe they need a resolution, but you know, resolutions aren't going to get the problem fixed until like we finally just tackle it. And I feel like years have gone by. This was a street you could literally drive up to your garage, and you can no longer do that. So I mean, whatever the board can do with the help of the council person, you know, Councilman Calvin Say's, you know, assistance. I would like the other state rep to help us out. You know, there was like an investigation of that area of, you know, why the slide was, you know, reoccurring, but I think it was a result of a broken 8-inch sewer main that connected from Kuahea Place to Kuahea. The city finally fixed it during the pandemic in April of 2020, but they never fixed Kuahea Street. Now, if you guys think about this, when you got a water main break, and it just happened in the back of Palolo Valley, like last night, jackhammering, they didn't leave. That excavator came out of the valley at like 5:50 this morning to finally finish the repair, and you know, they'll resurface the street. It will get repaired so you can drive over it. That sewer break up there on Kuahea Place, the road never got fixed. Now, it doesn't make sense to me why that never got fixed. And I'm showing you a document from the previous mayor and a previous council person that said the street was going to get repaired and resurfaced, and it just never happened. So anyway, run-on sentence, I've gone on long enough, but whatever the board can do to make this like an agenda item next month so that we can invite the community that's up there. There's the 2 houses behind me are abandoned and sliding still towards me. The houses that are directly across the street, I guess Matt and Mike got like an $8,000 settlement from the city. Don't know what he's going to do with that money because that won't even repave his driveway. But I really, really think that we need to get back focused on helping these people. I mean, literally, I think Kuahea closed in 2018. We are in 2024, folks. So like whatever we can do to get the ball rolling, Calvin, would greatly appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks, board.
Thank you, Corey.
Thank you. My goodness, it's we had over 100 people we had protests here at our neighborhood board because of that area. And it's gone on long enough, my goodness.
Thanks, Corey, for elevating that issue to us. So we'll definitely try to have the elected officials include that in their monthly reports. And then when the time is right, we can invite DDC Director Millis to possibly present on it as well.
Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Oh, Board Member Shiraki.
well, just to let you know that I've been fighting for that road for your place. Okay? Yeah, I know. I talked to all the guys who was working over there on top there. Okay? Now, all telling me it's a private place no matter what it is. They said it's a private property. Okay? Well, that's what they're saying, okay? So right now, they made us stairs, and I told them guys to make one temporary road for a place. But you look right now, they got a big lump in front there. Car can't even go up. So Calvin, who gonna swap? I've been talking to them all the time, who was in charge of the job.
So Board Member Shiraki, I don't know if Councilmember Say is prepared to answer that now, but we'll definitely include it in the future meeting agendas.
So just to let you know that, I've been trying to get something for them guys, okay? It's not that the board now do nothing, okay?
Thank you again for bringing up that issue. Okay, so with that, we will transition into the reports by the elected officials. So as we said, Congressman Case is not present. So we will move on to Councilmember Say. Thank you for being here tonight.
Let me start off by saying good evening to all the board members and residents of Palolo. It's been a very healthy discussion this evening in regards to all the different topics and issues. And I do want to thank the City Department of Facilities Maintenance for being here, Division Chief Randall Wakamoto and Sania Fong, who are here, and then also Curtis. But let me start off by saying I believe that Corey is right, that we have to follow up with the Department of Design and Construction. A year ago, I think it was either October or November, we did have a meeting. We did have a meeting with the director and the deputy with 6 or 7 families. And the issue was brought up in regards to the question of who owns that driveway. And Corporation Council feels that the driveway is a private driveway, but the city has condemned 2 properties on Kuahia that is adjacent to that. And the problem would be there's one particular family who is not agreeing. And if that's the case, we'll have to bring it up with the director of DDC and even the families once more, if that's what you folks want us to do. But at this point in time, the city was willing to do some sort of improvements. Okay, everybody says it's more money for these projects. I have my report stating that Kuahia Waimau emergency project that took us 6 years, plus the city and county, 24 million. And I recall for me personally, who was living at Kuahia Place? One of our former state senators. You know, I would love to help the residents. Prior to getting elected, we had a great meeting on Kuahia Road in deciding if the families wanted to do a class action lawsuit rather than having individual lawsuits. And the residents said, no class action. They want to do it individually. I'm trying to support the residents, which I grew up with their kids. And that's the difficulty we have. But I have to say this in front of all of you and the residents. Corey, thank you very much for bringing it up again. And I hope not our U.S. congressman or our state representative and our state senator be a part in this discussion also. Please, you folks are very happy to hear from the DFM this evening. And you folks want to support the parks. The city and county of Honolulu has over 360 something parks. And Mr. Say has close to 15 to 16 parks in District 5, which is the primary urban center. From Crane Park to Palolo Park to Stadium Park to Moilili Park, Sheridan Park, to Alawai Park, to Makiki Park, to Cartwright Field, Manoa. It's a tremendous amount of responsibility that I have to represent. And I'm trying my best in seeing that my hometown of Palolo Valley do get a fair share of it. And that's where I'm coming from. But let me report some of the concerns that were brought up. The Waimau Road and the Hialo Olili place, that was completed. That was the one after the renovation and improvements of Waimau Road. That's where we had the slide in the fall of last year, if you folks remember. That cost us close to 2.9 million as an emergency. Money doesn't come out of the sky. This is a contingency fund that we have, thanks to the administration. Long-term for Palolo Gym, I'm trying my best also because we can't move until we get the roof done. Joe Kim is asking me to let's continue on with our boxing program. I believe you'll get a good report. Colin, did my chief of staff send you the email? Okay, great. Maybe you can share that. But it's been a really busy month for me. From the Palolo Valley sign, I think Jared Middle School is trying to restore it. The one at the Triangle Park on Palolo Avenue. 1816F Palolo Avenue in regards to the boaters, throws it to the city once more. Overgrowth of albizia trees on Narcissus Street. Throw it to the city to do it. Various community members, 6 or 7 of them, when I did go and visit them on a Sunday afternoon, Kilihuni Place. Everybody knows where Kilihuni Place is, off of Palolo Avenue. A home that was sold to a developer that may develop a monster home. For Earl Makanui Place, on-street parking is a big issue. It's not you, but one of the concerns was brought up at Makanui Place, okay? The neighbor across the street has detailing business. We have to call DPP to have their inspectors to come out. So they did that. Another homeless situation for all of us in regards to our bus drivers. Bus driver who lives in Palolo emailed me to say, you know, Calvin, I don't know what to do. Sometimes there's 2 or 3 homeless staying in the bus for 5, 6 hours. Okay. And I can't say anything about homeless because of the pending lawsuit that we have with ACLU. I don't think so. Okay, another one was Narcissus Street, the concrete canal that they're trying to see if we could fix it up. But there are many other issues that, you know, this member has faced, and I'm happy to report to all of you that we are trying our best in addressing this particular district. Okay. Mr. Say does represent 5 House districts. and I hope the general public is aware. From Palolo to St. Louis Heights, to portions of Kaimiki, Kapahulu, all of Manoa, all of Moiliili, Makali, Makiki, Tanlis, Ala Moana, Kakako. 7 neighborhood boards, which I try my best to attend. If it's not in person, it is on WebEx or Zoom. So in closing, we are doing our best. The staff, I wanted to compliment my chief of staff, Janelle Cohen, Andrew, and Pua, who are doing their best in responding to all the concerns that you folks may have. Tomorrow night, it's the St. Louis Heights, Diamond Head, Kapahulu Neighborhood Board. So, and at this time, Corey, we'll try to follow up. And I think that Deputy Director Mamizuka is here, so we both can make a request to see where it's at. And I also like to make a request, and the staff is listening to me, making a request to the Corporation Council in regards to the pending lawsuits that were filed by our residents with the Corporation Council. Okay. As far as the past week, last week, Monday and Tuesday, I apologize to the Sue family. I could not make it to Richard's service at Midilani. We had the budget presentations of the 18 different departments. And that was for 2 days. Then I have to share with you and the board members and the residents that Wednesday, it was the zoning committee chair, which I am, having to address gambling houses. And there were 2 measures, and it was a very difficult discussion. First and foremost, anything you deal with gambling, it's a criminal offense. Anything you deal with building code, it's a civil offense. And how do you try to merge the 2 together to have a force? That's the discussion we're having, and I apologize to all the residents who testified in support of closing down gaming houses. At least we did. For the Palolo residents, if you recall, the issue was brought up in regards to the washerette on Palolo Avenue, where we now have Kukua Market. Is it called Hapa? And the coffee shop where I got to meet the owner of it, Miley. You know, Palolo is a very special place for me. And, you know, I just wanted to share with you, this is the process that I have to go through in regards to addressing all of the concern. But I'll be happy to answer any questions you folks may have at this point in time. And I can sympathize with the residents of Kuahia Place, but, you know, I've got to go through the legal process. And that's why we have laws. Okay, any questions? And Logan, thank you for your service.
Thank you, Councilmember Say.
You're welcome.
Questions from board members, Board Member Shiraki.
Mr. Say,
Yes,
you're talking about Kuya, please, eh?
yes.
I mean, they all of them talking to them now, okay? I told them, guys, at least they get the equipment up there. At least make one temporary road, not to be like you said, you know? So at least they can drive the car up, you know, pump you, whatever. Okay, so now they're working on them now. And now I go up there where the road normally is. I see on big lump finished work on top there. How they gonna make a road with that hump now? You know what I mean? Is I feel sorry for the guys up there. So you know what I mean? If you get the equipment out there, it's like nobody go nothing.
Earl,
Dig up the side up there so they can go
Earl, I'll
temporary.
do my best to get you the report next month of the status report of this particular
So
project.
who we gonna see now for them guys to do the work?
Earl, we can't take action on that issue tonight because it's because right now.
I don't hear what you're talking, Randy. You talk, you come over here.
Yeah, I know, but
Earl, let's have some courtesy. Let's have some respect and humility with all of our residents of the district. Okay, anything else,
Yeah.
Colin, please?
Thank
That's
you.
it.
Any other questions from board members? Any questions from community members? Okay, so just to echo council members say, you know, we do appreciate the work that you're doing for us and that you have done for a lifetime,
Right.
really. And, you know, I don't know why he didn't want to share this because great news, you know, we've been asking for, you know, support for the parks. And as Councilmember Say was saying, his staffer Janelle was able to inform us that Councilmember Say successfully did amend the budget bill to include funding for the outdoor court lighting.
Oh, great.
Well,
Right.
As amended in committee. So Janelle's email also shared that the budget bill will be taken up by the entire council for second reading on April 17. And then the conference draft 2 will be voted on in the committee meeting, possibly May 13, with the final reading to come after that. So, Council Member Say, while we have you here,
yes.
what is the best use of our time as far as submitting testimony? Is the second reading for the full council similar to the state where we should just wait for the third reading or?
Yep.
Yeah,
The second reading should be also a part of the process and you should submit
be,
written
okay.
testimony or
Okay.
in-person testimony.
Okay.
It could be either or, but in the end, the process is just beginning because if you understand, it's the appropriation, then the encumbrances, once it's approved. And that's the difficulty, that it takes at least for the city to get any project done, it has to go through DDC also. So from Department of Design and Construction, then on to DPR, et cetera. DPR is Parks and Recreation. Then you've got to get the approval from Department of Budget and Fiscal Services in regards to the funding being released. But I'm happy to be here this evening to share with all of you the educational process that we go through.
Thank you so much. So, board, that was the importance of passing the resolution today for to the city council so that we can submit testimony officially in our board capacity. So for anyone who would like to provide that testimony in person, I will make every effort to do that with you folks.
Colin, I'll do you folks all a big favor. Janelle, you're listening this evening, so why don't we do this? Once we get the resolution, I'll read the resolution in strong support.
Oh, that would
And that
make
will be
it
recorded in
easy.
the journal.
Thank you, Calvin.
Thank
No,
you so
thank
much.
you.
Sorry, Janelle.
Thank you very
left
much for the
online, but
privilege.
thank you. I don't know how this is related to other things, but I just searched for the word Palolo in the bill as well. And there is, in addition to the funding for the outdoor court lights, I just want to share that there is $501,000 for sewer rehabilitation and relief.
Yes.
So, okay, thank you, Councilmember Say.
You're very welcome. I'm happy that Randy and Sonia is here because I'm just trying to help them out also along
Yeah.
with the Department of
Oh, we
Environment.
appreciate your help. Okay, so next we'll move on to Mayor Blangiardi's representative. And as mentioned before, we're fortunate to have Deputy Director Mamizuka.
Good evening, Chair Peros and board members and members of the community. I'm glad to be here. I would like to say thank you to Randall and Sonny and also Cyrus for being here for their presentation. I think it's very important that the communities learn or get educated on stormwater. Yeah, having permeable surfaces at your home really helps with the water, being recharged, right? Recharging the aquifers, yeah. And runoff being, not going back into the ocean or to the streams, very important. There's a lot of pollutants, yeah. So, well, anyways, let's get started with the mayor's report. Logan, if you could you please put the link in the chat for the where people can view the mayor's newsletter, and we can start up with that. There's a few topics I'd like to mention in the mayor's newsletter for this month. Some highlights. Mayor Blangiardi, March 14th, delivered the State of the City address, which was his fourth. Yeah, so very good job by Mayor. Also, the week after started, March 21st, we kicked off the town hall meetings. Tomorrow night is the fourth town hall meeting, which will be held at Wahiwa. Then April 18th at 6:30 p.m. Will be the fifth town hall meeting held at the Ke'elikolani Middle School. right there on Poly, across from Poly Safeway. And then Thursday, April 25th, that town hall meeting will be at the Manoa District Park. And then Thursday, May 2nd at 7 p.m. will be at the Nana Ikapono Elementary School out in Nanakuli. So feel free to come out and join us at the town hall meetings. Just because you live in Palolo, doesn't mean you can't go to the other town hall meetings, yeah. So you guys are all welcome. The neighborhood board commission office is actually hiring. So if you know anyone who's interested, you can contact the neighborhood commission office at the phone number 808-768-3710 or by email nco@honolulu.gov. All right. So now moving on to community concerns, to address community concerns from last month. This is in regards to insurance at the Palolo District Park. And the question is, due to the park lights being removed 15 plus years ago, what kind of insurance protection does the city and county provide where something to happen at the park? What would community members do in the event that someone is hurt at the park or suspicious characters are utilizing the space? Well, first off, the city is self-insured. If there is an emergency, someone gets hurt, call 911, request for an ambulance. If there's any suspicious activity or person of interest that you're afraid of, you can always call 911. A police officer will be dispatched and they can take your statement. If there's witnesses, that will also help. Statements are provided to HPD. Yeah. Second, procedure for replacing of facilities. What is the process for the replacement of park facilities? When something is removed, like the park lights, are plans made and timelines established for them to be replaced? If these plans are not immediately set in motion, who is it that makes that decision? And the response came from the Department of Parks and Recreation. The administration manages its capital improvement budget based not only on funding, but by priority. Backlog list on improvements and the staff levels needed to work on and complete projects. When projects are added to the budget, they are considered in context of all other projects across our parks and placed accordingly on the lengthy list of improvements that they'd like to complete. And finally, Palolo Pool and the fence timeline. A resident requested a timeline funding breakdown of the Palolo lights and surrounding fence projects. The Department of Parks and Rec responded by saying the pool deck lighting was replaced in 2022, and currently there are no fence projects at Palolo Pool. So that's the mayor's report for this month. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Deputy. Any questions from board members?
Thank you, Warren. No question.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you. Questions from community members? Okay, so I think you heard too the concern for the Kuahea Place.
Yes.
You can work with Director Millis possibly to get an update
I've
for next month.
made a note, so I'll call.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening next month.
Thanks.
Thank you, Warren.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so moving on, Kiele, who is our governor's representative, did inform me that unfortunately she's unable to attend our meeting tonight. She did provide the governor's newsletter, which I believe was dropped into the share drive, if you would like to view that. So we will move on to Representative Sayama.
Aloha, members of the board. I apologize, I can't be there in person tonight. Had a scheduling error, and so I'm not there. But I will still be informing you about this month's updates. I'm so happy to hear that Green Growth Hawaii has given their presentation. I had met with them at the Capitol, and I'm excited to see where that project goes. Second, we finished the Azama Park cleanup, which was a great success. A lot of the community members were involved this time around, so very grateful for that. Members of the Honolulu Chinese JCs were available. And of course, Councilmember Calvin Say himself was there helping too. So thank you all for participating. We were able to clean up 31 or fill 31 garbages full of green waste. So the park is looking better and better every time. So we'll have another one in the near future. I encourage all board members and members of the public to join us. Next, my office has been communicating with residents around Ahina Hina Place along Palolo Avenue. There's been some squatters issues. And so my office is trying to contact the property owner to hold them accountable because the squatters have been reported to be violent and disruptive to the neighborhood. So we are continuing to work on that. This Friday, we'll be having art at the Capitol. So that will be happening between 5 to 7. So please feel free to come. It's a public and free event. Parking is available at Iolani Palace and all over. You get to enjoy public art and tea demonstrations and ballet dances. So I encourage anyone who has time to come then. Finally, there's been some movements with important legislation. We are about ready to go into conference committees next week. Important legislation that this board had noted previously, like the bill to legalize recreational cannabis, has died in the House. And the bill to amend the additional dwelling units, kind of noted as like the monster home bill, was significantly amended to eliminate all of those problematic areas. So those are both good things for the community. With that, I'm open to taking any questions from members of the board and public.
Thank you, Representative Sayama. Questions, board members? Yes, Board Member Shiraki.
Representative Jackson Sayama.
Yes,
Mr.
Earl.
Yeah, I don't can see you. Where your picture?
Sorry, it's a little dark here. I could turn it on, but
Okay. Anyway, just to let you know, this month the fire alarm never go on, okay? You know, for the valley.
yes.
And it's very important, you know. What I mean is, like you said, what happened if North Korea bombed, you know, some place of the island? That's the reason important. Then I found out that now about 10 schools does not have fire alarm. Okay, that is very, very important. That's what the priority. It's the same thing like our interrupted Maui fire. If they had the fire alarm, they put it on, how many people would have been saved? A lot of people don't know what was going on. But when you get a fire alarm, people know that something is wrong. So they're going to move. Okay, Justin, you understand?
Yeah, no, I do, Earl.
Okay, so make sure you let the guys talking about this first priority. Okay. It's not
Okay.
because it's more money. But that's what is important for the people, okay? We gotta
Yeah.
save lives. Okay, Jackson?
Yeah, thank you, Earl.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Earl.
Board Member Shiraki. Any other questions from board members for Representative Sayama? Any questions from community members? Representative, I have one, just following up on some concerns that were raised in our last meeting about the emergency sirens.
Yes.
I don't know if there was an update from Haima, but are we still on track to complete that renovation by summer?
So if I remember correctly, last month, when they updated us at the board, they had noted that the updates would be done in 2025 instead of 2024. So yeah, I think that's still the same, unless you have different information than I do.
Okay, I don't right now and my phone is dead, but if we can include that in the monthly reports, that would be
Okay.
great.
Sure.
Thank you. Any other questions from board members? Thank you, Representative. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Jackson, keep up your good work. Huh?
Will do, Earl. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Okay, and I don't think I see Senator Ihara, but he may be that 808 number that's dialed in. Okay, probably not. So that pretty much brings us to the end of our agenda. So I'll highlight the announcements. So our next board meeting will be on May 8th. And then, of course, if you want to rewatch the broadcast, it plays on Thursdays at 9 p.m. So board members, the most immediate, I think, call to action for us, if you would like to participate in testimony provided for the second reading of the City Council budget bill, that will be on April 17th. So please just email me. But if not, this board meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night. Thank you. Thank you all.